the Ministry of Research and Technology and Higher Education, and also the government of Tangerang, Selatan City. We are now in the very first session of the 3-day event, that is the UNESCO WTA Asia Pacific Regional Planning Workshop. The workshop itself will run for the whole day and starting from now until 6 o'clock in the evening. Before we run through to all the sessions, please allow me to invite Dr. Yusman Nur from UNESCO to come to the stage and deliver his opening remark.
Honorable Mayor of Tangerang City, Dr. Aileen Rahmi, Honorable President of World Technopolis Association, Mayor of Daejeon Metropolitan City, Professor Yong-Yu Kang, Secretary General of Daejeon World Technopolis Association, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for us to be in Indonesia today, this morning. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to President of World Technopolis Association, who jointly organized this event, and then also to the government of Indonesia, who hosts this event, especially to the Ministry of Research, Technology and Higher Education, especially Puspitek, Ibu Sri, Dr. Sri Setiati, and then to Mayor of Tangerang Selatan City, Ibu Aileen. It is really a pleasure for us to be received. It is very great honor this morning. And then I would like also to thank to the other people who have supported this World Technopolis UNESCO WTA training workshop, especially the expert on Science Park and Technology Business Incubator. Without your participation, this workshop will not be happening. And then also I would like to welcome all of the participants from around the world. Normally we will be around 150 people to follow this training workshop this morning. So, let me explain a little bit the context of this training workshop. This training workshop has been organized during the last 12 years in cooperation with World Technopolis Association. Our objective is to support the development of Science Park and Technology Business Incubator in the developing countries by training the manager of Science Park. But our ultimate objective is to help the developing countries in creating job in knowledge-based small and medium enterprises. So our role here is to bridge the link between university or research center with productive sector with support of the government and financial support system. To this end, we organized several activities. First, this capacity building activities, training workshop. We have international training workshop organized every year in Daejeon. The next international training workshop is will be take place in Daejeon on 29th of December, 29th of November to 1st of December. And then we have regional training workshop. This regional training workshop we organize regularly in each region. This one is Asia Pacific region. We have organized this training workshop for the first time in 2009 with support of the Ministry of Research and Technology of Indonesia also at the time. And then we also organized national training workshop by request of the country. In Indonesia we have organized this maybe 2 or 3 times. And then we have also our second activity is providing technical assistance and capacity technical assistance in the development of Science Park. We have provided with WTA technical assistance in formulation of strategy development of science park for around 16 countries in the world, including Indonesia. And then we have also pilot projects, and then we have some of the 3 pilot projects in the world. And then the last initiative cooperation with UNESCO and WTA is Global Innovation Forum that really helps. This is happening right now in Indonesia. This all of our initiative jointly organized with WTA. WTA is our main partners in promoting cultural innovation around the world. That we have wherever we can. In the world last week, we went in Montevideo with program to support the Selatan forum. It is the forum for Latin America, and then we take this opportunity to organize side event on UNESCO and WTA activities. During this training workshop, this training workshop itself will focus on the management of science park and doing business incubator. That will be started by introductory course, first of all, and followed by case studies of the most successful science park in the world. I hope that we will have a very, very good experience during this training workshop. And then thank you very much for your support. Then be sure that UNESCO will be always there if you need any assistance in the program of science park and business incubator. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rizlanul from UNESCO for your opening remark. And next, I will invite Dr. Mon Swintai as the Mayor of the Daejeon Metropolitan City and President of the World Technopolis Association to come to the stage and deliver his welcoming remark.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Mayor of Tangerang, Selatan, Evelyn Jian, Dr. Sri Chechawati, Head of Hospital, Dr. Usman Program Specialist of UNESCO, government officials represented from universities and HTS, and distinguished guests. First of all, I would like to extend sincere gratitude to all of you for participating in the UNESCO WTA Asia Pacific Regional Trade Workshop. Since 2006, the WTA and the UNESCO have co-organized many workshops with various topics, such as the establishment of the Polish Regional Innovation System, Industry Academia Research Institute Cooperation, Technopolis Governance, as well as Innovative Ecosystem and Innovation Platform in order to promote sustainable regional innovation and development based on science and technology. More than 1,000 experts from around the world have participated in the workshop, laying a foundation for innovation. With this training workshop as a momentum, I am firmly convinced that all of us will obtain and share knowledge that can contribute to establishing SPS in Asia and the Pacific region. I hope that through the workshop, we could share best practice, expertise, and know-how, and come up with various solutions on SDP governance. Once again, I greatly appreciate all the participants including WTA members, speakers, and representatives from STPS, for your participation and wish the meeting a great success and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kwon Sun-tai, for your welcoming remark. And the next, may I invite Ibu Irene Rahmidiani as the Mayor of Tangerang Selatan City to come to the stage to give her special remarks and to officially open today's training workshop.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera bagi sekalian. Good morning. Honorable the President of WTA, Mr. Kwon Sun-tai, the Mayor of Tangerang Metropolitan City, Bapak Yusman from UNESCO, and Prof. O, President of Tangerang National University, Prof. Kang, Secretary General of WTA, and all of the speaker and the participant, and Ibu Sri from Puspitek. I'm sorry, I will speak in bahasa. Pertama-tama, selaku tuan rumah, saya menyampaikan ucapan selamat datang di Kota Tangerang Selatan, Provinsi Banten, Indonesia, kepada seluruh pembicara dan peserta UNESCO WTA Regional Workshop. Saya sangat berterima kasih atas kehadiran Bapak Ibu sekalian. Saya memandang kegiatan workshop yang secara rutin dilaksanakan oleh UNESCO dan WTA ini adalah kegiatan yang sangat strategis. Oleh karenanya kita semua sangat beruntung dapat berpartisipasi dalam kegiatan ini. Kita semua menyadari bahwa ada 3 tantangan utama yang dihadapi dalam pengembangan dunia usaha, khususnya yang berskala kecil dan mikro, yaitu kurangnya inovasi, minimnya pendampingan, dan belum optimalnya dukungan sarana dan prasarana. Kegiatan ini didesain untuk mencoba mencari solusi untuk tantangan di atas. Kegiatan UNESCO WTA Regional Workshop memiliki objektif untuk memperkaya wawasan dan pengetahuan, serta menambah keterampilan kita semua terkait dengan inovasi dan teknologi. Secara spesifik, kegiatan ini akan mengarah kepada aspek pengelolaan Science and Technology Park, pengembangan sistem inkubasi bagi entrepreneur, dan kolaborasi antar seluruh pemangku kepentingan yang terlibat. Dan karena saya diminta untuk membuka, maka dengan mengucapkan Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, dengan ini saya membuka kegiatan training workshop ini. Dan terima kasih, selamat datang dan selamat mengikuti kegiatan workshop. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Dr. Yusman Nur from UNESCO to lead and to take over the whole session. To Dr. Yusman, silakan.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We will have 4 sessions today. The first session will be a lecture from Professor Oh. Professor Oh, who doesn't know Professor Oh among us? Professor Oh is, I would like first to invite Professor Dr. Oh to sit in the straight. Maybe the CV of Professor Ray is too long. We will try to make it very short. We start by his current position. I think among us that we are thinking that Professor O is WTA. No, Professor is not WTA anymore. Professor O is President of Tangerang National University in Daejeon. He was taking this function since last February, and then give the Secretary General position to Professor Kang. And for a long time, Professor Ho was Secretary General of WTA. He is one of the very, very active person in this cooperation. So without Professor Oh, we cannot have this kind of activities, I think, because in fact, already Professor Oh and myself, we initiated these activities together around 12 years ago. And then before that, Professor Oh has long experience in conducting research and also participated or lead the development of science and technology park in Korea and give the advice to the development of science park and technology business incubator in many countries in the world. Without any ado, I would like to invite Professor Oh to give the lecture. I would like to ask to the Indonesian audience whether you need a kind of short resume in Indonesian after Professor Oh give the presentation, or every 5 minutes maybe, or just in English is okay?
Yes, of course.
The restoration, I think that all of the audience can speak English very well, so you can go ahead with your presentation. After we will have a question and answer, and then they can ask the question in Indonesian as well. Professor Oh, time is yours.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big honor for me to have a keynote speech in this important venue. I think this is my 12th visit in Indonesia since the beginning of 2000. When I came here at first in hospital, I realized the structure and the development future of hospital is very much similar to the data science town in Korea for the last 30 years. And very similar time, hospital was begun as a pure science city with the National Research Institute. And also they are continuous developing their basic research. But since the mid of 2000, they need so-called innovation to make the transformation from science city into a technopolis or innovation cluster. But they have lots of programs to make a transformation of this basic research into applied research and technology commercialization. Therefore, they invite us, the UNESCO consultation team, with Dr. Noor and me, and Dr. Malcolm Ferry from UK. We stayed here about for a week, and we gave a very sincere advice, what to do, what is the important things to do. Since then, we have a continuous drive, how to work together between UNESCO, WTA, and Indonesian teams. And I think it was 2007, we have an international workshop for the civil servant in Indonesian government, and also STP people together in Jakarta. And we have a 2 days workshop that I gave a similar presentation to let them have understanding what happened in the global context. Today I will summarize it briefly and then give some agenda for us to talk about. Before my presentation, I will give a small episode happened in my 60 years anniversary at my university. Now I'm 61 years old. I'm a very old guy. I hope I looks like about 40 or something years old. And then, this is the truth, this episode. I invite all of my former students at my master and PhD student supervision, about 100 people together in one venue. I invite them for the lunch and deliver this small handbook composed of our cooperative research draft. About 140 articles in it. I gave them one by one. And then I gave a very sincere thanks for them to be involved with me, to let me have sincere research and a corporate job as well. At the end of my thanks speech, I asked my former student, what is the most important and interesting lecture for me to have for last 30 years. I gave it to my student. I thought almost all my students forgot it. It's about 30 years ago. But I sincerely give a question to them. They are very much hesitating to respond me. So I point out the youngest student who are working for my PhD thesis. Then she was hesitating to give me an answer. But at the end, I push him to give me an answer. Then he has a very bright answer to me. The shortest lecture that you had at last lectureship. So I understood very well. Shortest lecture is best lecture. So I will try my best as soon as possible to finish it. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
I will introduce the SDP planning strategy into following order: concept, main activities, and structures, and global trend, and so on. In the 21st century, we have three very important words: creativity, convergence, and sustainability. So these three words, most of the people insist on. That is the key word to us to find out the way how to develop in the 21st century. Interesting is the late Steve Jobs insists on the technology and liberal art must mix together. So he gave a very interesting speech. I will trade all of my technology for an external Socrates. It's a very interesting thing. The liberal art and ideas for the future is important, more than the techno itself. But many developing countries insist on being in the science, technology, research. But that's not. We have very similar fundamentals. But how to combine together with the new design, new idea, new creativity, together with the conversion. That is the way. I think Korea is successful in this part. For example, this is it. In the year 1950, we had the Korean War happening in Korea between 1950 to 1953. I was told almost all the industries and buildings, everything was corrupt. We had nothing. And this building is the first building designed and constructed by Korea itself. This is the American embassy in downtown Korea, in the Sejong Avenue. But interesting is, in the year 1953, the United States government had no reliability on Korean technology in the construction. So they didn't give any power for the Korean people. So it was designed by the collaboration with the American and Philippine engineers. No Korean people. And when they construct it, they invite Philippine engineer to have an investigation what is wrong or not. The architect just involved with the construction itself. That's it. The second one is the Junction Auditorium. It's not a big auditorium, small valley and basketball auditorium, cover about the 5,000 people. It's a big dome. But in the 1960s, we had no technology to develop this, the 55,000 buildings. So, Korean government invited Philippine architects to design it. It was in 1950. But after 60, 70 years, this is the highest building in the world. You know, the Burj Dubai Tower covered 126 stories in the Arab Emirates. The designer, so to say, is Korean architect who is working in the United States. And it was constructed by Samsung Corporation. It's a drastic change. This is, we are here today to understand how to go with the basic fundamentals to follow the technology, innovation, oriented economic growth and sustainable development. That is the topic for us today and tomorrow and the day after tomorrow as well. One more interesting picture is this. 1998, just 2,042 venture companies in Korea. This is about 20 years after completion of Daedok Science Town. After 20 years, in Korea whole, we have just 2,000 venture company. No company to cover the so-called unicorn, $1 billion. They are very small. But 2014, 35,000 venture companies is a kind of small and medium enterprise. But important is this. This is so-called unicorn. We have a 10 billion value company, 10 companies. I was told in the world we have less than 200 unicorn club and 10 belonging to this unicorn club. That is the result. How to develop and science technology as a whole. Then this is a small structure. How to do? That is two pictures to understand the innovation strategy. Many people have understanding about the left-hand side, so-called vertical industrial organization. The large corporation like Hyundai or Sony, world-leading company, have everything. They need partners to let them have a production, to let them have a design or something like that. But most of them is organized and managed by the leading corporation. But it's the time before the 21st century. We are changing the system, so-called horizontal collaboration between the large corporation, so-called innovation society. Everybody knows now it's the first technology and the unique one can open the market. If this larger corporation control everything, they could not follow and be responding to the need of the future. They could not do everything from the R&D design, everything is impossible. When they did, they need more than 3 or 5 years. But within 2 years, they get the benefit. Therefore, they need a partner to let them have the world's best first product, the design, technology, something like that. Therefore, they need the so-called this society to let them work together. This society consists of the research capabilities, design, and supporting activities, something like that. Therefore, if we have enough sustainable that kind of construction or the sectors, larger companies can go together. That is why we need to establish science park. That is, on the earth, we have a lot of new ideas, new source of world first product. Nobody knows what it is. Somebody needs to find out it, dig it, and then breed it. At the end, this is the first technology in the world. But how to breed it, how to develop it, to let them have it, we need a so-called innovation platform. This innovation platform, we have a lot of structures. So from tomorrow, many the lecturer introduce their one strategy, how to develop this innovation platform. I think science park as a broad concept is this kind of innovation platform. They let them work together, innovation source, university, industry, government, research institute, work together to follow the technology request, design request, something like that. One very unique example is this. This one, you know, this very famous politician, Michael Bloomberg. My friend Peter Jung is living in New York, and the President Duogo is living in New York, and they knew better than I know. But in this term, I know better than them. It's because Michael Bloomberg is one of three the big people. As you know, this Clinton, Trump. But if Bloomberg go at first, he could be the successor. I don't know. But interesting is, Michael Bloomberg has 3 terms of being mayor. The first term, he insists on the safe New York is the best strategy to let the New York world leading city. So he increased the number of policemen, protect the safety, then he get to retain the safe New York within his first term. Second term is beautiful and the attractive New York to develop lots of the urban amenity design, something like that. High Line is one of these examples. Then he thought, is it enough for me to challenge for the world leader? And he invite his international advisory members, 12 people, and ask them, is it enough for me to be challenged for the world leader? But almost all the people don't say yes. You are not enough. It's because New York is not qualified for the innovation. New York has the very qualified university like NYU and Cornell, the medical school, something like that. But in terms of innovation, venture ecosystem, New York is not equal to the Silicon Valley cities, not equal to the London, or not equal to the Berlin, in terms of innovation strategy. So you need to invest for the innovation ecosystem, innovation platform. So the third term, he declared the project Applied Science in New York is an increment of research universities and also the sincere collaboration society for the challenge for the future. And the surprising result, the New York City government invite, I was told, 100 world leading universities. But technologies program with the universities and company work together. But interesting is this. Many people have a misunderstanding of the innovation or technical commercialization. Many colleagues of mine at my university have a very similar misunderstanding. They have an idea of the product with R&D. That it's a big success of the sustainable development of technology-based economic development, something like that. Good design and good planning could be go to the good product, but it's not. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages of development. When they have a new R&D and design, it must be mobilized to incubate it. Therefore, we have incubating center to sustain, collect, and sustain it. Then they must demonstrate it. That is a very effective product. World first design and make a profit. They must have it. But one more, promote it in the real market. At the end, they can sustain it. That is the way. But many product and design done by us is up to here and back and back. Not go further at this sustained stage of development. Next one. And this is the type of the knowledge and technical transfer. Many people think just type 1, but there are many type 2 stage, type 3 and type 4. Many different kind of stage happen. So kind of spin-out from the company or from the research institute. Next one. Next one. So we need to establish the infrastructure. How to let them develop it. So to say, into a term of science park. So science park have 4 main functions. The first is source of innovation. Second is the humanware. Third is software. And the fourth is hardware. It can be compared to R&D, business and entrepreneurship development, management and infrastructure. Next one. This not go one way. This work together with it. So many related activities must be sustained within the science park organization. Next one. So this is a basic typology of science park. The first one is science park, as you know. They have all of these 4 functions, but mainly focus on the source of innovation. Therefore, for example, Bobo Institute of Agriculture or Bandung University Technopark must go with the structure of the science park. And Technopolis with the urban dimension, with the industry park, something like that. So Technopolis is more than that. In case of hospital, we can go for the terminology of Technopolis. But at the end, all go for the innovation cluster to let them work together. I will give some examples. Next one. The science park is a kind of collaboration between R&D centers and the university to go for the research and development. Next one. And Technopolis. Next one. Then innovation cluster, like the Silicon Valley or adults as a whole. Next one. This is the first generation of science and technology park development up to 1990. The very famous research triangle, RDP, Silicon Valley, Tsukuba, Shenzhen, Taiwan, and Sophia Antipolis, Cambridge Science Park is that example. Next one. Up to 2010, we have more than 100 science park and technopolis projects in the world. Next one. Third generation, we are following the creative model of science park and innovation cluster. And this hospital is one of these. We must challenge it for the future. Next one. One case of survey is collaboration between the university and R&D centers. Just 100 companies on the side of the survey research park, managed by Universal Survey. But Universal Survey is not very successful in terms of research and development. only their advantage is the next to the Heathrow Airport, next to the London. So many the ASEAN companies wanted to settle down in the UK to open the European market at the mid of 1980s. And they were seeking for the location. And Surrey Research Park insists on they are the best location next to the airport, and they are the fundamental collaboration partners of these Surrey universities, together with the medical school as well. Then they got very much successful for the last 10 years. So now they are working 3,600 steps, next one. And this is the objective and the main function. Just at the initial stage, they wanted to develop some independent income for the University of Surrey. And second is to raise the profile of the university and support the tech transfer. Very humble ideas, very humble objectives. But, next one, at the end, they get a big jump. For example, they get the partner research centers, Airbus, airplane, and also they get the investment from Microsoft, and they develop the digital technologies. And so, now they are completely leveraged because of the research park. It's a big success, and the Surrey Research Park gave the profile how to develop for the university to charity for the future. Not just focus for the research and development, they must work together with industry. That is one example. One more, and Dortmund. I think the former President Dortmund is here, so he knew better than I am. But Dortmund is the city of heavy industry up to 1970. It's a coal mine and steel and beer. That's it. And universities. But I was told in the year 1985, this coal mine all closed. And the steel company closed as well. And also the beer brewery closed about 90%. And heavy unemployment happened, 3 times more than the average in Germany. So, in the year 1985, the leader of the cities, university, I was heard, almost everybody laughed at him. In Dortmund, it is impossible. Beer, steel, coal mine, just labor-intensive industry. We have no fundamentals to charity for the can be developed into such kind of strategy. 1985, medical school. But Dortmund University and Dortmund Technopark applied for the National Biocluster project. But as I know, in Germany, the famous and the leading University of Biotechnology is Heidelberg, Munich, and Berlin. But only 3 seats they had in the year 2003. But the Dortmund dared to apply for this project. And they recruit the neighboring city, the enemy, Bochum, because they have a medical school. Let them good the project, design and strategy, then they calculate how to go, what kind of thing they can do. Very surprising is the Dortmund Technology Park get the win of 3, not Berlin, but Dortmund. So the Frankfurt Allgemeine, the very famous German newspaper, wrote, it was a miracle. Dortmund has no medical school. Dortmund has no fundamental company or biotech, but they get it. Now, 2015, Dortmund is one of the core of this bio-high-tech company. They get the Max Planck Research Institute and Fraunhofer and many biotech companies there. So, many developing countries, they complain We have no fundamentals of good university, good medical school, good company. But Dortmund is the one example. With a good design or strategy, they can challenge it. With the collaboration among the people, leaders of the different kind of societies. Next one. Next one. Next one. That one. Chungnam Technopark. 1997. I was acting as the leader of the Korean Technopark program. And 16 provinces and the metropolitan city government applied for this project. And 6 technical projects were chosen by us with the name of Ministry of Industry and Resources. Chungnam is one of them. But interesting is, here in Chungnam, this is farmland, nothing. Because I designed it by myself. There is nothing, just a farmland. And they have only the fundamental basis is 13 universities next to these areas. And these 13 professors, 13 presidents, and the governors, and the industry and industry commerce join together to design the techno project by themselves, then apply to the national government as one possible future-oriented project. They got one. Next one. They design it. Next one. But interesting is this. They develop so-called sustainable mechanism of venture ecosystem. They have 13 universities next to this research and the areas, something like that. And this 13 research, not research, the education-oriented universities established the so-called University Research Institute and the small venture incubators. But this is a kind of pre-incubators. They did a venture ecosystem in their laboratories, some is in their lecture rooms. With the student and professors, they design, they challenge for the ventures in this rural areas. But if they have a successful result, it can be got by the technopark at the second stage to get them sustained development. At the end, they can make a production as well, and then they can have the industrial park side for them to establish their one business as a whole. It takes about 5 years. Interesting is next one. Next one. 2000, almost nothing in this region. Although they have a technical project in their premises. But 2010, this is the employment, about 1,800. Most of them the university graduates, challenging for the ventures. And the company as well. In total, this startup 282, now about 400, more than 400. 56 startups created from the venture incubators. And they can change again in the industry estate, 13%, and 87% plus and succeed. But they return to the know-how. They return to their laboratories. They return to their lecture room. Challenge again, students, professors, and industry people together. Then they can go again and again. That is a venture ecosystem. Therefore, this rural farmland is converted into a science park in the reality. And at the end of their evaluation, Chungnam Technopark get the championship of Technopark project because they have nothing, but at the end they can get it. That is why we are challenging for this innovation. Next one. One is the Dresden in Germany. This is Eastern Germany, but I will skip it. The same one. Next one. Next one. The same structure, triple helix models. Next one. That is one. Yet last year I read the report by this Ministry of Education or something. Interesting is this. Dresden is eastern part of Germany. Then almost all the people of eastern part, they went to western part to get a job, to get something benefit. But in case of Dresden, it's not WTA. Interesting is the status of employees in high-tech industry in Germany is not Munich, not Frankfurt, no in Karlsruhe. Dresden is the first in Eastern Germany. It's because of hard and enthusiastic support for the research and development, so-called science park at the end. Next one. In Korea, Daedok Science Town, the my cities. Next one. Next one. That is one currently. Tomorrow I will explain it in more detail. 1978, we began the science town, a few research. Then next to the Daedok Science Town, we developed so-called high-tech industrial park. Then it linked with the other technopark projects together. Then in the urban formation, area park innovation. That is the end of Daedok for 35 years. Next one. Next. Now we are planning this so-called next generation project of Daedok. That is R&D achievement, following the technical commercialization, startup transfer. In terms of R&D, we invest one more for the research to strengthen future-oriented basic research in the name of international science and business field reconcile. Right-hand side, we challenge to support the first new industry and first startups in the name of Center for Creative Economy. And next to Daedok Science Town, we are planning one more academic industry collaboration hub in Sejong City to challenge for the world-class innovation cluster. Next one. That is the system, different kind of strategy, combine it together. Next one. That is the result. For about 2008, about 2012, just 4 years, huge growth or something. Marketing, results, and job creation, something like that. Number of patents, 19,000 cases happened for last 5 years. Next one. That is world's first technology happened in this Daedok Science Town. Next one. Interesting is, actually what research institute, electrotechnology research institute, is ranking first in the intellectual property today. It's more than MIT and California. I was surprised with this results. The research institutes are focusing on the research to challenge for the research and development. It's a kind of evidence and successful, the huge development of research and development platform or something. Next one. This is one designed by us, the Sejong City is the capital of Korea. So 26 ministries have already moved from Seoul to Tangerang. But in the Sejong City, in the Senate, we plan one more science park to correct the university campus and research and development as well. So, so-called science and technology innovation phenomenon happening today. Next one. So, as you see, this is the Tangerang Sejong Science Park. At the end, with Cheonan and also Cheongju, we have a huge cluster development from the base of data science happened for last 35 years. I am expecting the same development phenomenon could be happening in perspective within 10 to 20 years. That is our common goal. And WTA, UNESCO, and all the colleagues will work together to let them challenge it. Next one. Next one. Next one. That is designed by us. And I think within 5 years, we can have this next Sejong Science Park. And Seoul National University, Chungnam National University, and Korea and some other university will have a corporate campus here. And research institute, everything can be combined together to challenge for the research and business development. Something like do your project. Next one. That's the end of my statement. So I will talk a little bit within 1 hour. I am the town planner. I am the town planner, so-called urban planner. I designed and drawing it. I had nothing to do with the science and technology when I finished my PhD in the 1988. The reason why I am continues to do the research on science and technology part is a kind of a convergence of all of these strategies. At the initial stage, I worked together with the regional economic people, some of people who are studying the technology together. So in my town planning proposal, I put their idea together. But there is a design and planning. So I need to know real evidence. So I have research together with my colleague, not only just in Korea, but also in many developing countries and developed countries. At the end, I realized it is impossible for the people, for me, by myself, to do a good design and planning of science park. It is impossible. It is a kind of corporate job together for me to do. So I always work together with different kind of sectors. At the end, we have a better output than we planned at the initial stage. So I think today we have a little understanding about the Science Park initiative. But at least we can try together here and we can suggest where to go, the perspective in the round table meeting. The day after tomorrow, about 4, we will have a round table meeting. Please prepare some of your ideas, where to go for the perspective to follow the successful development innovation cluster. It can be very helpful for us to suggest the future plan of perspective, and we can have a good result at the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Ho. Professor Ho has already exposed the basic principle of development of science and park with several different cases of the science park. We follow the experience of Sarai University, which is research park based in university, initiated by university itself. And then there is a case of Dortmund Technopark, also initiated by university, but it is based on the crisis because the crisis of the city that push university and Technopark to work together. And then the case is Chungnam Technopark. Chungnam Technopark, it is really a central government initiative imposed to the local government. I don't know whether local government aware about this project or not. I saw that Professor Oz told that there are 13 education institution in Chungnam area at the time, and then maybe central government contact directly this institution. So maybe Professor Oz can give us much more detail about that. And then we have also the case of Dresden Technopark in in Germany, in eastern part of Germany, which is also based on the sort of crisis, because they need to accumulation of research center, and then after creation of high-tech industrial park, and also industrial park, all of this area, which is a huge area. And the last case that Professor exposed is the Sejong City Science Park. I think this case of the Sejong City Science Park is kind of the accumulation of long experience of Korea in the development of science park or techno park. The most important thing, I think, for us, in fact, in all of the cases, it's always about how to create an innovation ecosystem to link between innovation stakeholders. This is about research center or knowledge producer, research center or university, with the productive sector, with support of government and financial sector. It is, we are always juggling on these four elements. But how to do this? It really depends on the situation, political situation, economic situation, whether we take a good decision on the right time or not. So I think it is the key points. Now I would like to open the floor to the three participants first, and then we will ask the Professor to answer. Please, if you have any question, and then yeah, second, just.
Good morning. To do the research, it's difficult to ask industry to join with us. This is the main problem, because most of industry in Indonesia is not eager to make innovation. Mostly it's a branch of industry from abroad, like from Japan, from Korea, like something like that. So if we have they have problem, they go to their principal, not to go to us to make research. So what is your clue to ask industry to join, to participate to our research? Thank you very much.
It's a very nice presentation, Prof. I hope you still remember me when in 2014 I presented my business proposal in the development of Cimahi Technopark, and it's quite good using your principle. But still, when I asked you question at that time, since you've been here 12 times, so the question is that problems are faced in the development of Technopark is about the collaboration. When you said about the Technopark is like all the stakeholders, you said triple helix, collaborate as a sort of technology innovations, humanware, software and hardware. But in the implementation is quite difficult here. So what is the clue for to make it as Technopark or Science Technopark is a long process to develop, and we are here to start to build 100 Technoparks, STPs. So what is the clue that we should do? How to make a long and full-on commitment of collaboration with all stakeholders, like before me that he said it's quite difficult to ask industries to join the research, and the other one implement the Technopark we have to work together with the local government and the other politicians, and also regarding the funding as well. So what is the prudence to make the strong commitment between all stakeholders to develop the Technopark and Technopark? Thank you.
As you ask me, how to let the researchers and the industry people work together. So I confess the initial program happened in the mid of 90s when we began our Technopark project. It was 1995, 1996. But we did investigation how to work together between this the academic sector and industry sector together. But they complain each other very sincerely. And the research side, university or research institute, complain we have totally no request from the industry as a whole because they are lack of technology, they are depending on the major companies. They are copying or they are doing the mass production of their weakest product. They don't need design. They don't need the research and development. They survive and they are satisfying with the result. Exactly same like you are talking. And also the professors and research institutes complain that we have a nice technology. I think my research results could be world best, but nobody recognize it. So only the way for me to show it the research paper something. So both sides complain each other. No room for them to do something. Science Park is the place for them to let them share the idea, let them share the necessity of research and business development, technology commercialization, material transfer. So at the end, it is important for them to have understanding what is the research and development, technology commercialization. There is a big gap between research itself. They just concentrate for the research. The research could not convert into a real market product. As you saw, it's 5 stages. They must be together in some part. But money is a problem. Who can share this R&D budget for them to do? I will show you one good example happened in the Technopark project in Korea. To let them work together, we suggested so-called industry academia collaboration budget. So 1-1-1 project. It because the researcher could not cover all. So if the researchers and business people agree with their future R&D results or possibilities, they can request for the industry commerce or Ministry of Industry and Resources with the name of Technopark. Technopark can evaluate the ideas and projects. They can apply it. Then 50% or 60% of this budget could be supported by the Technopark. Of course, it's a national fund. And at least 1/4 must be covered by the industry. And 1/4 covered by the university or something. Then at least they have a common need to make it. That is simple way for the first time to challenge for this research and development. The first examples. And second example I saw in Japan, in Tsukuba Science Park, Tsukuba Technopolis, designed by 1975. Up to 1990, both sides, the National Research Institute people complained the Tsukuba industry people. We have a big gap. So the Tsukuba Foundation for the Research offered these so-called tsukuba salons to let them be together, share the lunch, sometimes share the dinner. They are sharing their idea, and this is sort of R&D. Then they can find out the room where to go. That is second example. Third examples happened in the 1992 or 33 something. I got a big project of TED of Techno Valley, which I show you. Then I have a tour to the United States, in the research triangle. It's about 1992 or 3. Then I requested a colleague of MIT. I wanted to have a look at the innovation meeting happen. So I expect it can be the laboratories or the university conference room happen. Meeting to find out the way of research and business development. But my colleague brought me to the 128 expressway. In the junction, there were small hotels. This small hotel, they offer so-called Worcester meeting. They invite the MIT research people and industry people and venture companies to show their ideas. Then they debate each other. At the end, something happens. So it is the best way. In many developing countries, they are waiting for the something from the national government or something from the leading companies. It is impossible. They don't need this research and development from the bottom. This bottom approach must be made by ourselves. Science Park strategy is the way for them to work together. So as I told you, small laboratory in one local university could be converted into pre-incubators. One professors who graduated from the university have a good idea. And the two graduate students, they are focused on the research and development. And every day they meet together the local industry, show it. Then they can have an answer, then apply for the science park with a guarantee for 2-year project. That is possible. So-called Airbus project in the Surrey Research Park. I was told it is a university spin-out, just one assistant professor and 2 graduate students got this Airbus SSTL project. Now they have 500 steps in the Surrey Research Park. At the end, it takes about 5 years. That is the way. So the science park, I can say, is a kind of strategy for you to challenge it. That is the first answer, and also covered the second answer. And also this science park project, the role of the government is not the work by themselves. They must hide behind the back of science park project. But in developing countries now, they will do everything. In Chungnam Technopark, former deputy governor of Chungnam province did act as a chairman of this governance system. During this time, they have had nothing to do with it. They report to the central government, no innovation happened. So, this local government and central government must help it behind the back. The main law must be driven by the source of innovation people. If they are the industry-oriented people, they must on the top. If the university-oriented people, they must play on the top. And just they report to the city or local government. This is essential for us to do. They can evaluate, then support it. Back to this government. But 5 years is enough time for them to support it. I dare to say 3 years enough. Within 5 years, no successful result, don't need to support it. That is my suggestion. So governance is a system to sustain this project, but the role must be played by the main source of innovation. Who are the main source of innovation could be chosen by the local communities. That is my answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr.
The driver is classified into engineer in the term of Korean system. So driver with some engineer license, he was given to us as the engineer for the prototype equipment. Similar episode happened in many developing countries. So the leader of innovation could calculate it. They can calculate who they need, what kind of things they need. So the government, the public sector supported after evaluation. That is the best way. Not to repeat again the same mistake happening in Indonesia. That is my little joke, but it's real in my university. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again, Professor Oh, and thank you very much.
And please, I may invite all the photographers or media to come in front to take some pictures of our speakers and moderator for the first keynote lecture. Before we come back to this room and begin the next lecture that will be delivered by Dr. Jaehon Lee from the Korea Technopark Association. We will see you again at 11 o'clock sharp. Thank you very much.
Technopark was coined in Korea. Korea was very good at making new terms like Japanese. So Technopark represents technological park or technology park, which is very similar to science park in the Western society. Technopark is a place where business platform or business support system and technology transport system support incubation, startup, and some knowledge-based business development. There are two major theoretical perspectives to explain Technopark or science park. I think the first one is park level. On the other hand, from the institutional perspective, science park or technology park is an institution providing assistance or support for its tenant companies or providing specialized infrastructure to house tenant firms. This perspective emphasizes the incubating or to the tenant firms as well also it emphasizes spillover effect to some firms nearby the science park or around the science park. I think both perspectives are very useful. Both perspectives needed to explain Korean Technopark. Originally, Korean Technopark was explained by employing the institutional perspective. It was established to incubate small medium firms within designated areas, small parks, and also it provided some equipment services to tenant firms, and also it construct infrastructure such as space, building, etc. And then, since in 2002, when President Roh Moo-hyun took his power, he emphasized the balanced development around Korea. He realized Korea was very unbalanced development between capital region and other regions. So he wanted to mitigate or reduce the unbalanced development around Korea. So he asked Technopark to act catalyst for regional economic development agency like RDA in the United Kingdom. So also that's why Technopark was asked to play as regional development policymaker for regional economic development. So in terms of scope, Technopark was transformed from the complex management to the region or provincial level. That's quite different, changes, drastic changes from the institutional perspective to economic geography perspective. So both perspectives are very appropriate, necessary to explain the evolution of Korean Technopark. Korean Technopark or other science parks are faced with many challenges. I'll explain, I'll categorize those challenges into 5. Firstly, Technopark is faced with social factors in Korea especially, such as the low birth rate and rapid aging society. So we will have difficulty in finding young R&D personnel and engineers in the future. Also, there's some innovation resistance in Korea and maybe around the world because some stakeholders are opposed to innovation. Just they want to stick to the current status. Secondly, there are also some political factors which technoparks are faced with. Technoparks in Korea especially are asked to take a larger, bigger role and accountability or responsibility for the regional development and for small and medium enterprises. Also, Technopark have been criticized for its slow performance compared to its big investment by central government. So we were, we were posed in sandwich. Also, but on the other hand, many political powers were so centralized to central government instead of devolution. Korea is not well decentralized as a whole. Next. Also, in the third challenge is technological changes. Technology is changing so rapidly, and also uncertainty is growing fastly. Also, there is a big, pressure of technological convergence, and also multi-technology trend are normal now. And fourth factor, there is some economic factor. As you know, the global low, growth or global recession became normal now. So also, Technopark, Korean government have to invest lots of more budget on healthcare, welfare. On the other hand, Technopark had less budget from the government. So we were asked to do more with less budget. Finally, I think the last factor is very important and what's worse in the collaboration between science park and higher education institute. There are different institutional proximities in terms of incentive system and also institutional interest or objective. For example, Technopark emphasis is on commercialization or creating jobs. On the other hand, universities are not interested in commercialization. Some universities, of course, recently many universities change their emphasis to commercialization. But many university professors are still interested in publishing their papers, getting recognition, or hey, there are different perspectives. The interests are conflicting between two institutions. And also, Technopark's emphasis is on impact on regional industries, while university or research institutions are only interested in technological superiority. regardless of commercialization, and also interest in on novelty. In terms of level, science park or technology park, techno park are interested in regional or at least province, at least the city level, while universities are only interested in their own university institution itself. So these institutional proximity should be narrowed down. Otherwise, it will be very difficult or almost impossible to promote or facilitate collaboration between science park and higher education institute. So in the last part of my presentation, I will introduce some strategic implications to narrow these institutional proximities. I'll briefly overview the Korean Techno Park history. Techno Park is a Korean version of science park, which is a technological intensive industrial park that puts every essential function in a single spot for effective high-tech industry development. This was the original purpose, objective of the establishment of Techno Park in Korea. Later, Techno Park was asked to act as facilitator of institutional system of triple helix. Actually, triple helix system, as you know, was designed to cooperate between each three actors. But as a matter of fact, each party in a triple helix doesn't cooperate with each other well. That's the reality. So in Korea, it was not an exception. That's why Korean government asked the Techno Park to, act as facilitator to promote the actors in a triple helix system. That's why. So you have to, realize Korean Techno Park was not in a member of triple helix, the act of triple helix in the first place. It was established as a third party to promote or facilitate triple helix actor, triple helix system, which in the end led to another conflict between Techno Park and triple helix actors, because science park has its own objective, its own goal, so which are conflict with triple helix actors such as university, industry, and government. So we will have to resolve another resulting conflict between technology park and triple helix actors later. Which is actually very important and imminent task to Korean Techno Park now. And also, Korean Techno Park was backside, not back again. Okay. Also, as I told you, President Lo in 2002, as a Techno Park to play as a regional policy maker to boost the regional economy. And also, the current President Park Geun-hye emphasized the creative economy. She put more strength, more emphasis on CCEI, Center for Creative Economy and Innovation, which is very similar to Techno Park. But anyhow, her interest was really different from Techno Park. So she put more resources to improve, to developing CCEI instead of Techno Park. So Techno Park is a little bit in a disadvantageous position now. But anyhow, for me, I had almost 13 years experience in Techno Park. I know how to cooperate, how to survive this kind of government change of government interest. Anyhow, I'll explain later again. Anyhow, I hope you have to realize the important capabilities of Korean Center for Creative Economy and Innovation, which is sponsored by current President Park Geun-hye. In this CCEI, to promote and develop a creative economy, the conglomerate, large firms such as Samsung, LG, Hyundai were asked to help small and medium enterprises in each region. Each conglomerate was assigned to each province. For example, Gyeongbu province, to Gyeongbu province, Samsung was assigned. LG was assigned to Chungnam, SK was assigned to Daejeon. Like this, likewise, federal government assigned each conglomerate to each region. So that's why since Park Geun-hye took power, each conglomerate invested more than 10 million, at least $10 million to spend and improve, develop each region. So this is the interesting characteristics of creative economy of Park Geun-hye government. As you know, Technopark as the center of nurturing regional industries, foster small but medium, strong businesses through equipment and training services, employment support, education, R&D support, etc. Also play as a regional industry and policy maker, also cooperate with important stakeholders in the region, and contribute to a regional economic development by collaborating with other SMEs or CCDI. In result, it leads to strengthening regional economic competitiveness as a whole. These are Technopark's great concepts. Okay. Next. I wrote this slide. I'll briefly and shortly explain the role of Technopark. If anyone has a good idea whether he or she is an entrepreneur or individual or the owner of a small medium enterprise, they can come to Technopark. Then we will put all the necessary, all the services together to customize them to the needs of small and medium enterprise or entrepreneurs. Then in 5 years or maybe in 10 years, we would like to make them like Iron Man. We would like to make them a strong and sustainable company. This is the Technopark idea. Our Technopark, Gyeongbu Technopark idea. As CEO of this Technopark has almost 8 years. Next. You see there are at least 6 Korean government departments. All government, like your country, Korean government department also functionally decentralized. That's why many government departments provide or offer almost overlapping the same services to small and medium enterprises and also to regional development. So we will get all the government projects or services in our Technopark. And then we will translate those services to customize the needs of the small and medium enterprise. Then we will put all these government services on the highway and help small and medium enterprise to get through the toll gate successfully. That's our idea of Technopark. Yeah? There are 18 Technoparks in operation now. In other words, each province has its own. 2 provinces have 2 Technoparks. Anyhow, as Professor Oh explained, originally 6 Technoparks were established in 1998. But government found, Technopark project was successful, so government decided to extend the 6 Technoparks to 18 Technoparks. Of course, it's not only such necessity or success of the 6 original Technoparks, but also some politics worked. That's why some of the Technoparks didn't work as designed because of the politics. Anyhow, that kind of politics will work anywhere. Next. These red circled are 6 original technoparks. Chungnam was one and Gyeongbuk was another. Next. The Korean technopark can be summarized into 5 characteristics. It has good governance between central government and local government, and also has unified operation and control of budget in each region. What's most important is to guarantee the sustainability of technopark with special legislation. This is very important. When regimes change, the president would prefer his or her own policies, right? In that case, technopark can be, disregarded, or technopark can be, ignored. But Korean technopark, when was Korean technopark was established? Korean, legislative body, Korean National Assembly set up special law which guaranteed the sustainability of Korean technopark for 20 years. In other words, this law or legislature is not general law which lasts forever, but which is a time-limited law. When we asked the lawmakers to make this law, we assumed technopark would last only for 10 years or 15 years. That will be the maximum. That's why we asked them to make the law with a 20-year time limit. But as a matter of fact, now we realize, technopark was some technopark were very successful. We need to extend this law, or we need to change this time-limited law to general law to protect or guarantee the sustainability of technoparks. So if you are interested in establishing new technopark in your country, I would like to strongly recommend you to make this kind of special law to protect or to guarantee the sustainability of technoparks. Otherwise, technopark's destiny or technopark's fortune will be influenced, affected by the regime changes. So this is very important lesson from the sustainability of Korean technoparks. Also, the 6 technoparks were funded by the Korean government almost $5 million in the next 5 years. So with that $5 million, we could build our own building, and also we established some essential infrastructure. So even though without further government support, we can survive. We can, live longer, much longer. So this kind of special legislation is very important to guarantee. Also, technopark has, has been acted to regional policy makers, which was important priority given to our technopark as the regional important agents in our region. Next. This slide shows why technopark project was established. Of course, Dr. O explained, Korea didn't have anything just after the Korean War. Even in 1960s, Korea didn't have anything, any resource except for human capital. So Korean government, especially the visionary President Park Chung-hee, decided to invest most of the resources to supply big industrial complexes, such as Ulsan, Pohang, Yeju, etc. These kind of industrial complex policies have been very successful to accommodate Samsung, LG, Hyundai, etc. But Park Chung-hee realized in 1973, such big manufacturing companies would not have any R&D capability. That's why Park Chung-hee decided to invest another money to establish data science park. So most beneficiary from this government policy were universities, research institutions, and also another large research labs. But in 1998, Korean government realized there were many limitations of data science parks and also large industrial complexes, because Park Chung-hee assumed these kind of big investment in data science park we would spill over its result to small and medium enterprise. It was not the case at that time. Of course, now data science was very cooperative with the small and medium enterprise, but it was not the case in 1998. And also, there's a big, that's why there's a big gap between R&D applied and basic and commercialization are widening and wider and wider. Also, there is unbalanced development between metropolitan area and other regions. Another disparity between large organizations and small and medium enterprises also were very evident. So, in order to overcome these kind of limitations, technical projects were initiated by the Korean government. Next. Look, Korean technical projects went through 3 stages. In the first place, the Korean government just wanted to provide some spaces and providing infrastructure for small and medium enterprise in other regions except for Seoul and metropolitan. Secondly, since Nomuyan took power, Korean Technical Park were asked to play regional, industrial policymaker. In Park Geun-hye took power, she asked Technical Park as facilitator or coordinator between each technical techniques actor in the region. So, but these 3 functions, 3 stages are done concurrently now. Next. But in the first stage, Technical Park was infrastructure, secondly, vision provider or policymaker, and at the end, it was asked to play company support as a coordinator. But these 3 functions or 3 stages are done concurrently at the same time now. Next. There were many regional development projects implemented in Korea. Among them, the most successful project are the Technical Park project was the most successful. So that's why I tell why Technical Park was regarded as one of the most successful projects. Look at the employment data. There are 18 technical parks. Each technical park accommodates almost 100 small and medium enterprises. Of course, which of them became listed on the Korean stock market. Also, each technical park, the companies in each technical park employ around 1,800. So total employments created by each technical park amounted to almost 18,000. I mean, 18,000 employees work in technical park, 18 technical park in Korea. Also, the total sales was almost $7 billion. That's why Korean technical park was regarded as very successful in our regional project of Korea. Next. One of the interesting characteristics of Korean technical park, and one of the interesting one, it provides some equipment which are very costly, expensive, and small and medium enterprise cannot afford to buy. So, more than only the equipment which technical park hold of the equipment of the technical park hold, only less than 30% are less than $30,000. More than 70% of equipments are more expensive than $30,000. In other words, very expensive equipments are held by technoparks, which are listed to small and medium enterprise. Of course, we collect some fees from the company who use those equipments. So last year, in 2013, we collected almost $700 million as a fee of the usage of equipment. Next. Also, through technopark, Korean government, the former Korean government, asked to play the major medium to develop regional strategic industries. Each province had to declare 5 strategic industries under the Imenbak regime before Park-geun-hye. So the Korean government decided to invest a larger portion of R&D budget to those strategic industries. So look at that's why, but of course, Korean government did not invest any money, any regional research money, in the regional R&D money in Seoul and metropolitan area. Those money were given to the other areas except for Seoul and metropolitan Gyeonggi area. That's why look at the data. The brown colored bar shows the growth rate of the non-capital area. So not Seoul metro capital, which is larger than the Seoul and metro capital area. And also those areas of designated as strategic industries are higher in terms of R&D budget, in terms of research employees, and also some, the other aspects. Next. As I told you, Korean technopark success came from 5 major factors. Among them, we had a good governance between central and local government, relatively speaking. Secondly, we operated under unified budget system within within province, to put all the government regional projects together in technopark. And also, as I emphasized, the technopark project was guaranteed with the special legislature. And also, technopark should be competing with each other to win government project. All the government regional projects were not given to each technopark equally. Many of the projects were were won based on the competition. Next. I think these are the same idea of the technopark, okay? Next. I would like to explain briefly about the Gyeongbuk Technopark, which I am the CEO for. Okay. In 1995, our Gyeongbuk Technopark used to be a lowland area next to Yeongnam University of Gyeongbuk province. Now it became drastically changed to have many nice buildings and research areas, and also nice and very promising companies with nice amenities such as apartments, etc. Next. Our technopark, like Chungnam Technopark, started with 5 nearby universities. Still, those universities have deeply been involved in technopark management. I'm from one of the universities, Yeongnam. Also, that's why we have 5 specialized centers in each university. Next. Also, as I told you, Korean government emphasized the strategic industries, which were 5 in each region. That's why our Gyeongbuk province is very famous for producing and manufacturing auto parts because our Gyeonggi province is next to Ulsan. Ulsan, which is the home of Hyundai Hyundai automaker. Okay, so many small medium enterprises which produce auto parts are located in our region. That's why we have a specialized R&D center for green automotive parts. And also our province is quite countryside, so we also specialize in natural color industry. And recently we established, I think 5 years ago, we established a medical conversion textile center, which came up with some medical textile and also some medical material, etc. Dr. Lee,
4 minutes left, please. 4 minutes.
okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, next, this year we were selected to develop wireless power transfer R&D center, which are very popular to automotive parts companies. So, and also we have another aluminum R&D center. Next. In the first place, I'd like to emphasize the change of paradigm. We have to just, it's not enough to intensify or strengthen the collaboration between SDP and higher education institute. We have to jump from the current continent to another country, because the incremental change is not enough. Rather, I think we need some radical change to overcome the limitation of collaboration between SDP and HEI. That's why I introduced one interesting slide. To cure the chronic ill patient, we need to put all the necessary services, doctors and nurses, surgeons, etc. Even in dentists, we have to put together. It's not sufficient to just have certain specializations or specialized professionals. So we need to adopt this holistic model or approach. So I will show you our technical case. Next. In the center, there is one firm which produces plant factory or which is kind of smart farm. Produce the vegetables within in the containers or small confined areas. I located that firm in the middle, in the center. And then our Gyeonggi Technopark provides overseas marketing services and pastoral services. And also I asked CCEI to give some fund to that organization. As you understand, the other capital regions, like us in Korea, is underdeveloped and disadvantaged compared to capital region in Seoul. So we are very weak in R&D and R&D capability. That's why we have to ask the central government sponsored R&D center, such as KIST, which is the oldest research institute in Korea, to help our small and medium companies. So we have to mobilize all of the available resources to help our small and medium enterprises. That's why I asked you, we need to jump from the incremental to radical. We should not be confined to our region. That's not sufficient to mobilize all the resources in our one region. As well, we have to also go on to the overseas, such Canada. The University of Manitoba in Canada were also asked to help this firm, because this cast engineering exported its plant factory to Manitoba, state of Manitoba in Canada. So this Manitoba University will provide some functional food R&D and collaborate with us. Next week I'm supposed to visit University of Manitoba to write on some MOU with us. So we need to go beyond our boundary condition to mobilize all the necessary resources available. So also local universities help to provide some employee researchers. Next. These are, of course, we have to overcome the limitation by narrowing institutional proximity between technoparks and higher education. Also, we have to design carefully the registration and carbon systems for shared incentive system. Next. Technological aspects, we are asked to convert technology, so we have to be focused on solutions. Next. Okay. This is the final and the last slide of my presentation. We have to put or place fund in the center in the first place. We should not insist our institutional interest objective, but most of institutions or most of actors will argue for their own position, their own perspective. We have to give up all of our positions as supportive organizations. We are supporters, not the principal or leading actors. We are just supporting actors. We have to understand what we do, what our role are. So that's why looking from in the first place among stakeholders setting the overarching goal in order to narrow institutional proximity. Technoparks and higher education institutes are just the supporting actors. On the other hand, the firms are leading actors. We have to appreciate, understand. Secondly, from the economy of scale or economy of scope, this scope economy or scale economy is not sufficient. We have to mobilize the network economy, which is argued by Shapiro and Beria, in order to survive in a post-industrial revolution age. Next. This is the end. Okay, thank you.
Great.
Thank you for your listening. Thank you.
Clear that Dr. Ree explained to us about the technopark itself. There's some basic principles that I can be highlighted here. It's very applicable to Indonesian case, Dr. Ree. It's very, very applicable. One thing that you said about the factors that influence the development technoparks, like social factors, political, technological, and economic factors. In the first years, we are working in the political factors because the idea of technoparks in Indonesia came from our president. The second one you mentioned about the how collaboration between science technopark and the higher education institutes that's very fluently that can be developed technopark more easily. The other one that you said about that technopark can be promote the triple helix, promote the creative economics. Also creative economics, I think part of the emphasized by our government at the moment. And the interesting that you said about the technopark can support the region. That's very important because we have around 100 technoparks that separated in the different area in Indonesia. They have different potential. So this is what we learned from Korea, that we focus in the regions that the highest potential that we can develop by technopark. You said about the center of nurturing regional industries, how to support the industrial is very close to our governance policy that we build from the remote area, from development of Indonesia. The other one one thing that different between Korea and us, you started the technoparks when you have nothing after work, right? So you have spirit of pali-pali, right? I learned a little bit about how they have a spirit to build the Korean, to start. You are popular here in Korean style, Korean songs, Korean movies. Is that right? Right. Yeah. So you will the creative economy, you will develop and spread to the other countries. That's one of Technoparks in Indonesia said the hidden talent to global exposure. That's we need to learn from you. The other one, the stages development. So we can adapt to what he said we have to learn about it to get his experience in 14 years to develop his technoparks. So ladies and gentlemen, maybe you have any questions, queries, or confirmation to Dr. Ri? Is this the very influential time for us? Yes, sir. In the back, second one.
Or we simply have one policy on innovation. And the other thing that I wanted to find out is, for instance, you've got a science park at Chungnam. Are you working with the same policy framework of the nation, or Chungnam University has got its separate policy framework on science and technology parks? Thank you.
I want to know, you must have difficulties or main problem to develop the technopark in Korea, and how you solve the problem. And we know, I think that's my question for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Main problem and difficulties you face. Main problem and difficulties you face.
Okay.
To develop the technopark in the Korea.
Okay, great. You have two questions, sir.
First, regarding first question, we are under the same law. There is only one law which guarantees the technopark sustainability, and also the law allows technopark to get some tax incentives within that precinct, the complex, and also we are allowed to put the all government R&D budget in our park to assign them to small and medium enterprises in each region. So we have only one law, but as I told you, we will have to change the law from time limited to general law, or we have to get rid of the time limitation. Regarding the second question, I think we have been faced with many difficulties, especially when the regime changed. I think the technopark's glamour used to be under the Norwegian regime, who emphasized the development of regions in a balanced way. That's why when he was president, he took power, he decided to relocate the Korean administrative capital to Sejong from Seoul. Now, Sejong administrative capital is in operation. So most of the government departments were relocated to Sejong. He was very interested in developing the nation as a whole in a balanced way. But after he passed away, he gave up. At the end of his regime, the next president, Lee Myung-bak, was not interested in developing technopark because he came from the Hyundai conglomerate. He was very interested in only developing large firms or large organizations. As well, he was also interested in renovating and developing all river projects. So he was not interested in technopark. But recently, we were really lucky to have the current president still she was also interested in developing and helping technocrats. So I think the most difficulty is dependent on the regime, policy or regime agenda. That's the major difficulty. And also, as Dugi, you told me, I think we Korean have very difficulty recently because of the happenings of Russia. Okay, I think we are experiencing very serious and severe, disadvantage after this rapid development. Of course, it is a very, mild, but I think we was too, fast in growing our economy. So now we would rather take some time to make a remedy of this damage and the bad side. And also I'd like to emphasize Technopark has both bright side and bad side, dark side. Okay. Not all of the Korean Technopark were not successful. Some of them are still struggling now. So I'd like to recommend you to find the right person who can be in charge of or managing the Technoparks to the right direction. That is very important. That's why I am asked to serve as another term of CEO again. I have no idea. Anyway.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Reed. It's very inspirational for us. Yes, we have many Technoparks here. Yes, the quality that I learned from Korea is to play the spirit of to hurry, cepat, cepat. We have something already, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We are going to the followers.
You know what is the Korean national telephone code? National telephone code? It's A2. What a coincidence. A2 pronounced in Korean, 빨리.